We can begin. If you want, before you fully get settled in, you can have your props ready. I have the same props. I have my chair, not my yoga chair's over there. This one I just took from the dining room. You can take your dining room chair. I have my block in lieu of blocks. I have books, the Dictionary of Thesaurus. Let's see, what do we have for the third thick book today? We have Angels and Demons. The first week we had Grimm's Fairy Tales. Then it was Edith's biology book from when she was in college. So any thick books work. Have a strap, great substitute. I've been using a towel, but one of the other teachers mentioned using a scarf. So I thought I would try a scarf this morning. And we'll see where we go. I am keeping my higher than usual lift. This is more comfortable, allows me to struggle less. I am opting for struggling less. I recommend you opt for struggling less. More opening, more awareness of what is. Not just externally, not just paying attention to the news every day, seeing how many more cases there are. Right? Some people are just focused on how many cases today, how many cases today. You know, if you want to know, that's fine. I understand that. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. And we're keeping up to date here. And we have relatives that live in different countries. But we have to begin to move some of our awareness internally. What's going on inside of our bodies. So allow the swirling thoughts in your head, allow them to move to the back bottom part of your brain. It doesn't mean they'll go away. The thoughts don't just disappear. But you can move them to the back bottom part of your brain where they begin to become quieter. Hands resting gently on your thighs, upper arms by your sides. And with those thoughts to the back bottom part of your brain, allow yourself, give yourself permission to drop your awareness into the body. And just notice the current body experience, where there may be turmoil, where there's a sense of openness and peacefulness. We're not looking for a right or wrong, neither is good or bad. And then bringing your awareness to the sit bones, find the even balance of your two sit bones. Adjust where you need to adjust to create that. Ensure that your shoulders do stay over your hips. So don't move your shoulders forward, don't move your shoulders back, but directly over your hips. Lengthen from the inner thighs to the inner knees. And lengthen from the inner thighs, the tops of the inner thighs, back towards the abdomen. So the whole inner groin is lengthening. Descend the flesh of the inner thighs down. And draw from the outer knees to the outer hips. Compact the outer hips together while maintaining the lengthening and the releasing of the inner legs. So the same work we've been doing, certainly online here for a couple weeks now. And together in the studio, those that have been to the studio, we've been working on these actions of the legs for some months now. Now take a snapshot of the legs. Don't let them change. So you have to keep some awareness in the legs. We have a tendency to move our awareness from one part of the body to the other. What I'm asking for is, instead of moving the awareness, expand your awareness, which means you have to keep some of the awareness on your legs. And then as you press down through the sit bones, the hips also moving down, lengthen upward through the side ribs. Don't grip the inner thighs to do that. But can you lengthen from the hips towards the lower ribs without leaning back? There's a tendency to lean back here. There's a tendency to push the front ribs forward here. Keep the front ribs back. Keep the shoulders over the hips and lengthen between your bottom ribs and the ribs right above those. And between the second ribs and then the ribs right above those. Of course, we normally count the ribs, we count from top to bottom, but count it from bottom to top. And those ribs and the one right above, separating between each rib. So we move to the top. Again, the front ribs draw back. Allow the shoulders to move down and away from the sides of your neck. The sides of your neck become long. And as you maintain that lift and lengthen the side ribs, lengthen from the armpits to the inner elbows. So the inner elbow becomes, the inner upper arm becomes longer as well. It is opening, lengthening in different directions, in different parts of the body. Move your ears up and away from your hips. Find a softness in the face. Notice where there's stillness. Notice where there's struggle. Accept the struggle. Don't fight the struggle. Accept it. Struggle often gets less when we accept it, when we stop fighting. And of course, allow the stillness to be here. Struggle and stillness can take place next to each other simultaneously. It's not one or the other. Keep your elbows where they are. Gently bring your palms together, thumbs at your chest. Touch the palms evenly. Notice if one hand pushes into the other. And can you have an evenness of the hands moving towards each other? It does not need to be hard. It's quite gentle. But can you have an evenness? Whatever pressure is moving from right to left is equal to that moving from left to right. And as you do so, find an expansiveness across the collarbone and chest. But find an equal expansiveness across the back of the body, where the back lungs are. We tend to, often we're taught, expand the chest, and that's good. And then sometimes we bounce back and forth. Okay, expand the chest, the front body, expand the back body. So for a moment here, can you actually bring awareness to the front and back bodies at the same time? And bring expansiveness to both the front and back, a widening. And notice how those actions affects the shape, the experience of the breath, of the prana. A yoga practice is a time for svadhyaya, self-study. Can you bring yourself inward for an experience of your body and experience of your breath for this practice of self-study, svadhyaya? As we chant the Oms together, notice how the vibration moves through your body. We'll chant 3 times together, exhaling completely. Deep inhalation. Om. Lift your sternum towards the ceiling. Keep both the front and back sides of the body, especially the top, front and back sides, broad. Lift the sternum and lower your chin towards your heart. Notice if you push your front bottom ribs forward and draw those towards the back body. Like we spoke about Tuesday, you can take the back bottom ribs in and up. Release your hands onto your thighs with your palms up. With your eyes closed, raise your head and gently let your eyes open. Change the cross of your legs. If you're sitting in a chair, you just stay sitting in the chair. That's fine. Now we need to readjust again. So balance evenly on the sits bones. Lengthen from the inner thigh through the inner knee, from the inner thigh back towards the abdomen, this whole groin lengthening. Descending the flesh of the inner thighs, drawing the outer knees to the outer hips, compacting the hips together. Making sure this base is very stable, but also there's an opening. Extend your arms forward, arms up. Notice if your front bottom ribs came forward as you did that, take the front bottom ribs back. Notice if your inner groins gripped when you took the arms up. Extend, release. We're going towards a twist. Take your hands out to the side, arms parallel to the floor. Are you holding your arms up with your armpits or your shoulders? Hold them up with the armpits. Extend from not just the chest, yes, the chest, from the center of the sternum, extend out. But from between the shoulder blades, also extend out. Broaden across the front and back bodies. And we'll turn to the right. So inhale, lift up. On your exhalation, take your right hand behind you, left hand goes across your knee. The head still faces forward. I haven't turned the neck at all right now. Now before you turn, well, you've already turned. Before you turn more, you need to lift. So don't stay collapsed and turn, but instead lift, and then inhale. On your exhalation, bend both elbows and turn. Shoulders away from your ears, both shoulders. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turning. Looking forward. Don't let the head follow. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turning. Maintain the lift. Now resist collapsing. Most people, when they come out of the twist, they collapse and then untwist. Can you lift more? Inhale, maintain that lift, and then turn back to center. And the other side, first arms forward, arms up. Push down through the sit bones. That gives you more height. Of course, do so without gripping the inner thighs. Reach through the side ribs. Hands out to the side, arms out to the side. Hold them up from your armpits, not your shoulders. Push through the sit bones, maintain the lift. So inhale, lift up, exhale, turn, head looks forward. Lengthen and release the inner groins if that's gripped. Now push down, really use your hands, push down to lift up to the side ribs. Rotate the upper arms out, that gives more length. Inhale, exhale, bend the elbow. So this right hand is actually pulling on the knee. The knee resists, you're not moving the knee, but there's definitely a push-pull against it. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Svadhyaya, self-study. Now maintain the lift. Inhale, maintain the lift. Exhale, come to center. Maintain the lift. Change the cross of your legs. Extend your arms forward, arms up. Hands out to the side. Come down. Drop the shoulders, extend. Keep the lift. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, turning. Keep the head straight. Now there's a tendency when we turn to the right, these right ribs pop out a little bit. So I'll move, you keep your hands where you are. I'm just doing this to show you. You move your hands, you take these right ribs towards the midline, right? See how I'm tilted there? So I take these right ribs towards the midline. So take your right ribs towards the midline, inhale, lift, exhale, bend your elbows, turn. Keep those right ribs in, spine perpendicular to the floor, shoulders down. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Keep those right ribs in, look forward. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. The lift is more important than the turn. You have to create space in the vertebrae, between the vertebrae first. Also, those front ribs have to draw back. Don't let the front ribs pop out. Don't let the right ribs pop out. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. And svadhyaya, self-study. What's the experience here? And then maintain that lift. Inhale, exhale, come forward. Front and back bodies opening, expanding. Arms forward, arms up. Hands out to the side, down. Hold your arms up with your armpits, not your shoulders, from the front of the body and back sides of the body. Extend through the arms. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. So pause here. Push your hands down, lift up more. Notice if your left ribs have popped out, they most likely have. So you have to draw them back into the body and then lift some more, rotate the upper arms out, and then bend your elbows out to the sides. Inhale, lifting, your pace. Exhale, turning. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turning. Shoulders down. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turning. Maintain the lift. Now study. What do you need? What's here right now? Maintain the lift. Exhale, come to center. Take a moment here. Straighten your legs, Dandasana. Feet together. I guess you can't see my heels right now, but feet together, heels together, toes together. Toes point straight up. Have your buttocks, and adjust a little bit here. So have your buttocks on the blanket, but your thighs are off the blanket. Hands by your hips. Notice if the front ribs are pushing forward, take the front ribs back. Press the thighs down. And again, if you don't have blankets, I didn't go over this at the beginning. I should have. If you don't have blankets, towels, right? Most of you have been here before, so you've seen my little mini lecture on props. But towels, couch cushions, so much can be used. Pile up, the whole, all of your Amazon boxes. That'll work too. Press the thigh bones down, right at the top, not the knees, the tops of the thighs press down. You knee people, be careful for those knees, right? Lengthen from the inner thigh out through the inner knee, through the inner heel. And then from the top of the inner thigh back into the body. So it's lengthening in both directions, but there is a strong extension through the heel. And draw from the outer knee to the outer hip, compact the hips together. Again, pushing through those sit bones to lift up. Partha Dandasana, arms forward, arms up. Push through the sit bones, extend up. Don't lose the legs. The pressing down of the thighs are going to help you. The lengthening of the inner legs will help you. The compacting of the hips will help you. Hands out to the sides. The abdomen does draw in. Don't take it all in your lower back. Inhale, exhale, head goes forward, but you turn to the right. So the left hand goes on the outside of your right thigh. Could be closer to the knee. Right, mine is where the knee and thigh meet. That's where my arm winds up. Depends on the length of your arm. The back hand is right behind me. And then lift up first. Rotate the upper arms out. Take the ears away from your shoulders, away from your ears. Inhale. Exhale, Bend this front arm, back arm too, and turn. Descend the flesh of the inner thighs. That will help. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turning. Don't push the front ribs forward. Take the front ribs into the body. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turning. Maintain the lift. Inhale, exhale, come to center. Hands go right next to you so you can use your use your hands to help with that lift. Shoulders down. Lengthen the inner thighs. Descend the flesh of the inner thighs. Thigh bones themselves descend down. As soon as I really get that understanding of the tops of the thighs moving down, the torso lifts. That's how I know it's gotten. That's how I know it's gotten beyond just my brain going press the thighs down to actually, oh, the thighs press down, the torso lifted up. I didn't need to lift the torso. Now extend your arms forward, arms up. Watch those ribs. Take the front bottom ribs to the back body. Otherwise, you take it all in the lower back. The top of the buttocks does move down. Arms out to the sides. Hold them up with your armpits, not your shoulders. Front ribs in, top of the buttocks down. Descend the inner thighs. Lengthen the inner thighs. Inhale. Exhale. Keep the head forward. Turn the torso to the left. Lift again. Rotate the upper arms out. Establish the base here. Inhale. Then bend the elbows. Exhale. Turn. Head looks forward. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turning. Front ribs back. Don't forget the legs. Still lengthening and descending the inner thighs. Compact the hips together. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turning. The pace of your breath, of course. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turning. Inhale. Exhale, come to center. Dandasana. Check in with yourself. Separate your legs. Upavista Konasana. If you feel you need to change the height of your lift, you're welcome to change the height of your lift. Turn the thighs in so your kneecaps point up and your toes point up. But you have to double check. Look at your right leg. Is the kneecap up? Is the toes up? Left leg, is the kneecap up? Is the toes up? I guess that should be, are the toes up? One day I'll learn English. Notice, are your front ribs sticking out? Please draw them in. Now that work of the legs, inner thigh, out through the inner knee, out through the inner heel. There is a pushing through the balls of the toes as well, but really lengthening that inner leg. But of course, we have to draw back in as well. Lengthen in the opposite direction. Descend the flesh of the inner thighs. And then the outer knees to the outer hips. Compact the hips together. The tops of the thighs pushing down. Imagine you have 50-pound weights at the tops of the thighs. And they're really pushing down. When you get that, the torso rises up. Yes, you can use your arms to help the torso. But resist the leaning back. Resist the pushing the front ribs forward. So the front ribs move back. Yes, you can bring the back ribs in and up. I'm not focusing on that as much today as I did on Tuesday because I'm working on some twists today. But that action can still be there where the back ribs move in and up if you were here on Tuesday. Otherwise, still focusing on the front ribs moving back. Now we're continuing with twists. So take your left hand in front of you and the right hand behind you. Now for me, all of a sudden I have this lift and this floor is a little far. I can kind of make it, but I think a little angels and demons, there we go, will help. So take your block or a book. If you're closer to the ground, or maybe you just have longer arms, right? People think it's all about their flexibility. You know, the way your poses look also have to do simply with the length of your arms, legs, and torso in relationship to each other. Some people have long torso, shorter arms. Some people have longer arms, shorter torso. So we have to begin to look at our own bodies and not pictures in a book or even looking at a teacher. We have to look at ourselves. So maintain the legs, really pressing the thighs down, lengthening the inner thighs, releasing the inner thighs. Push with your hands to lift up first. Upper arms turning out. Inhale, exhale, head turns forward, head is forward, and turn to the right. Even while you're looking forward, can you get your belly button to face that right leg? Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Some of you, if you pay attention, will notice that as you turn to the right, your left leg will fall out. Can you turn your left leg in as well? Can you keep equal awareness on both legs, even though the mental attention seems to be shifting towards the right? Shoulders down. Wrap the ribs around, left ribs forward, right ribs back. Maintain the lift. Inhale, exhale, come to center. Left hand, right hand in between you, left hand back. Lift. Use the arms. Lift up. Roll the upper arms up. Keep the toes, knees pointed up. Inhale, exhale, turn. The head's not moving right now. Shoulders down. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Can you keep equal awareness on both legs? Lengthen of the inner thighs, the descending of the inner thighs. Outer knees to outer hips. Compact those hips. That will help because that helps give you more lift in the torso. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Remember, the lift is more important than the turn. Can you focus on how high you can lift up versus just how much you can turn? The lift is the awareness. The turning is the ego. The turn's important, but we want more awareness. Inhale, exhale, come to center. Hands by your hips. So when we do this turn, there's a tendency for many of us to push these ribs out and lean back and make it sort of a back bend. Others do wind up falling forward. So I want you, as you do this, to ensure that the front bottom ribs are moving into the body. And I will add the back bottom ribs. So for those that are going forward, take your back bottom ribs in and up so that the front and back bodies meet in the middle. That forces more length. So start that here. Hands by your hips, front ribs back, back ribs in. And then left hand in front of you, right hand behind you. Lift up. Notice what happened first. Don't just go to the change, but notice. Did your front ribs get thrown forward? Did your back ribs get thrown back? Take the front ribs back. Take the back ribs in and up. Have them meet in the middle. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Front ribs back, back ribs in. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. And I mean the bottom ribs of front and back. Front ribs back, back ribs in. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. The head still looks forward. If you're grimacing, allow yourself to turn the corners of your lips up. You don't have to smile if you don't want, but find a gentleness in the face. Maintain your lift. Exhale, come to center. So again, start here. Front ribs back, back ribs in. Right hand forward, left hand back. Front ribs back ribs in. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Notice what's happening to your body, to your ribs especially. Front ribs back ribs in. Inhale, lift, exhale, turn. Not hardening. If your face is hardening, you're working too hard, work less. Front ribs back ribs in. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turn. Front ribs back ribs in. Svadhyaya, self-study. Observe. Where are you working too hard? Where are you not working at all? Can you spread the awareness to touch each and every cell in your body? Maintain the lift. Inhale, exhale, come to center. Hands by your hips. You can move your block or the book out of your way. Take your hands on the inside of your knees. Lift up. Feet come together. Baddha Konasana. Now I'm going to take my scarf. You can take your strap. I'm going to test the scarf out. I haven't used a scarf before. So take whatever you're using for a strap. Strap itself, a yoga strap, a belt from your closet, a towel as I've been using, a scarf, really anything, so many things. And it goes just under your feet. And don't hold way up here, right, where your elbows are bent. but hold close down so your arms are straight, right? See, so I'm very close to the feet. If I had longer arms, I could get them underneath my feet, but my arms aren't that long. I tend to hunch forward, right? Especially because I have the lift here. But I want that lift, so I maintain that openness. So I'm reaching down, and the strap here is really just an extension of my arms, which would otherwise be grasping under my feet. Arms straight. Press your heels. Do rotate the upper arms out. It's great space for the side ribs, but that can have an unintended consequence of pushing the front ribs forward. So take the front ribs back. Extend from the inner thigh through the inner knee. I should have said that plural, inner thighs through inner knees, right? So both legs from the inner thighs back into the body as well. So extending out in both directions. The flesh of the inner thighs moving down. And draw from your outer knees to outer hips. Compact those hips together while lengthening and releasing the inner legs. Top of the back does move down to make space for the front ribs to come back. Shoulders over the hips. Find length in the side ribs. Chin parallel to the floor. Ears move up and away from the hips. Notice the quality of the breath, both the front and back bodies. Don't just pay attention to the chest. Include the chest, but notice the back body as well. Now take the sides of the strap together. Take your right hand behind you and reach for the strap, right? So you can see how this is my right hand that I'm wiggling here, and I'm reaching as far as I can to get that strap. You don't have to get all the way around your waist. It might be just behind you. I'm just doing, I'm reaching so you can see what my hand is doing. So just reach around wherever it goes. In the center of your back is fine. The other hand goes on your ankle. Head is forward. Press the heels. Now when we do this, we lose the legs. So re-lengthen the inner thighs, descend the inner thighs, draw from the outer knees to the outer hips, compact the hips so you get that lift. Push through the sit bones, lift up through the side ribs. Inhale, exhale, bend the elbows, turn. Shoulders away from your ears. So that front elbow is bent. You are pushing, pulling against that ankle. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Now the front ribs pushing forward. Draw the front ribs into the body. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Maintain the lift. Inhale, maintain the lift. Exhale, hands by your hips. Baddha Konasana. Take your strap, scarf, towel to the other side, both sides together. Take your left hand, reach behind you, take hold of your strap. Take the other hand on the ankle, spine perpendicular to the floor. So I non-mindfully lean forward to grab my ankle. That's what I did. Don't do that. You have to keep the spine perpendicular to the floor and reach for the ankle. And if you did lean forward, then you have to come back, spine perpendicular to the floor. Press the heels. Lengthen the inner thighs. Descend the inner thighs. Outer knees to outer hips. Shoulders down. Inhale, lifting. Watch those ribs. Front ribs back. Exhale, bend the elbow to turn. So the back arm pulls slightly, and this front arm, that elbow bends, and there's a pull-push against the ankle. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turning. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, turning. Pace of your breath, not mine. If you're grimacing, you're working too hard, work less. Give up on the twist, focus on the lift, more awareness, less ego, more awareness. Maintain the lift. Inhale, maintain the lift. Exhale, come to center. Hands by your hips. One last sitting twist, same one, okay? One last time. Strap goes to the other side, reach back. Left hand comes forward. Keep that spine perpendicular to the floor as you do so. Establish your legs first. Lengthen and descend the groins. Outer knees to outer hips, compact the hips. Then you use the arms. Take a snapshot of the legs, use your arms. Inhale, lift, exhale, turn. Watch those ribs. Keep the ribs into the body. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Really pull with those arms. The elbows bend. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Notice how the sides are different. When I turn to this side, it's your right, my left. When I turn to the left side, it's just not going as far as the right side. So I'm not judging good or bad. I'm not going, oh, I wish, but I am noticing. So as I carry on through my day, my practice, I can find what adjustments might need to be made to find more of a sense of evenness. Maintain the lift. Inhale, exhale, come to center, hands by your hips. Strap to the other side. Left hand behind you, reach. Other hand, holding your ankle, don't lean forward to grab. Get the legs first. Lengthen the thighs, inner thighs, descend the inner thighs, outer knees to outer hips. Compact the hips together. Take a snapshot. Keep that there. Expand the awareness. Don't move it. Inhale, lifting, exhale. Then those elbows, pull. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Your pace. Inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Keep those ribs in. Maintain the lift. Inhale, exhale, come to center. Release the strap. Hands by your hips. Lift first. Find a sense of evenness now on the two sides. Then take your hands on the outside of your knees. Push your legs together. Take your hands behind your knee. Draw the flesh towards the buttocks. Drag the heel. Other leg. Draw the flesh towards the buttocks. Drag the heel. Hands by your hips, Dandasana. Not leaning forward, not leaning back. Front ribs back, back ribs in. Shoulders down. Take a moment here, simply observing. Let's come into downward facing dog. I'll do it on the mat, but you have to do your pose. So you can use your chair. You can use your blocks, whatever is needed for you and your body today. Stairs, coffee table, anything. So shoulders above the wrists, knees slightly behind the hips. Start here. Which side has more weight? And can you even it out here while we're not fighting gravity so much? The fingers are spread. First finger pointing forward today. Press through the ball of the first finger and thumb, still finding that evenness of weight, of pressure on the two hands. Rotate the upper arms out, but keep the pressure on the inner hand. Push into the floor to lengthen through the inner arms. Which arm is working faster first, or which arm is working harder? Can you spread the awareness equally between the two arms? Turn your toes under, straighten your legs. Again, pushing into the floor. Inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take your thighs back, sit bones up, chest towards your thighs. Let your head go. Now we have to work on this evenness of the two sides. So balancing evenly on your hands and feet. Which has more weight? Left or right side? Push into the hands to move more weight back onto the feet and lengthen through the inner arms, armpit, side ribs. And find an evenness on the two sides. Let the head go. Press into the inner hand, rotate the upper arms out. Those opposite actions. Ensure that you're not pushing into your front bottom ribs, but those draw into the body. And now press those thighs back, both thighs. Which one moves back first? Which one has more awareness? Can you spread the awareness? Of course, we're still lengthening the inner groins from the inner knees all the way up deep into the body. The upper inner thighs, the flesh moving back. And as you press the outer heels down, lift the outer knees to the outer hips. Equal weight on the feet, equal weight on the hands, Equal pushing up through the sides of the body and through the sides of the legs. Sit bones up and back. And then look up, walk your feet forward. Just hold your elbows for a moment. Upper arms in line with your ears. So we'll be here just for a moment for a forward bend. The hips come forward, the thighs go back. Hips forward, thighs back. Still lengthening, excuse me. Still lengthening the inner thighs. The flesh in the inner thighs moving back. Outer knees to outer hips, move those hips towards the ceiling. And then hands down, walk your feet back, downward facing dog one more time. Press the hands down to lift up. Even if your feet aren't touching the floor, press down through the heels to lift up. Heels down, hips up. Study, svadhyaya, study the body. What are the differences on the two sides? Can you become closer to even? Evenness it's, I don't know if we ever get there, but closer to a sense of evenness. And then look up, walk your feet forward. You walk the other foot forward first. And again, then holding your elbows. Elbows held the opposite way. Upper arms in line with your ears. If you prefer fingertips on the floor, that's fine. Hips forward, thighs back. Hips forward, thighs back. Lengthen from the inner knees all the way up, deep into the body. The flesh of the inner thighs moving back. Outer knees to outer hips, compact the hips together. And let your arms go. Take your hands on your hips. Extend your chest forward. Keep the thighs pressing back. Inhale, come all the way up into Tadasana. Feet together or feet hip distance apart. I have a little tickle in my throat. I'm going to get some water while you maintain your Tadasana. All the actions are there. The legs and evenness through the side ribs, the ribs coming in. Svadhyaya, self-study. I will be right back. All right, I hope you've been enjoying your Tadasana and your Svadhyaya, self-study. All right, I want you to take a chair now. Have a block nearby too. We might use a block in a minute. So have a block or your stack of books nearby. Have your chair. Pavrita Trikonasana. So we did this, I don't know if we did it Tuesday or last week. You'll take your right foot underneath the chair. So I can't see my foot anymore. My left foot is back. So right foot forward, left foot back. Both hands are on the chair with the shoulders mostly over the wrists. So it's not this one, that's a different pose. But it's this one where the shoulders are if not directly above the wrists, towards the chair, okay? Play with that stance. It's still a wide stance. Now, when I do this, this front hip comes forward. So I want to turn the front thigh out and lift the outer knee to the outer hip and take that hip back. And at the same time, with the back leg, turn the thigh in, and that helps bring that hip forward. So I keep that front hip moving, the right hip moving back, and the left hip moving forward. Now we're doing a twist again. So what's important with the twist? When we're sitting, we say the lift. But here, we're not lifting, but we're lengthening. So keep those hips moving back and lengthen the spine. Take the spine, the torso off of the hips. So send those hips back and send the chest, the torso forward. Now take your left hand over your right foot on the chair, but above where your right foot is, and take your left hand on your hip. I'm sorry, right hand on your hip. And then move again, moving that hip back. Take the chest forward, hip back, and lengthen those side ribs. And then take both hips back. So we often focus on that right hip going back because that right side tends to shorten. But I want you to take both hips back to really lengthen both sides of the body. And as you lengthen, inhale, exhale, turn. Inhale, lengthening, exhale, turning. Inhale, lengthening, exhale, turning. If you have your balance, you're welcome to extend your arm up. Take your hand on your hip. Turn your torso to the floor. Both hands on the chair. Now walk your front leg back towards your left leg. So now you're in downward facing dog. Or maybe Ardha Uttanasana. Lengthening through both sides. And then you adjust. So that right foot then has to draw towards the midline. Left foot forward underneath the chair. So as I do this again, that left hip follows. So I have to really take that left hip back. The front thigh turns out, the back thigh turns in. The front hip goes back, the back hip goes forward so that they're even. And then I send both hips back together so I can lengthen through the side ribs, the whole torso. Take the front hand, the right hand, excuse me, over the left leg, left hand onto your hip. Again, that left hip goes back, but then both hips goes back. Both hips go back so you can really extend the chest. Inhale, extending, exhale, turning. Inhale, extending, exhale, turning. Inhale, extending, exhale, turning. The head is back. Don't tuck the chin. Keep that left hip back. And if you have your balance, sure, extend the arm. Or keep it on your hip, your choice. And then everybody, hand on your hip. Turn your torso towards the floor, towards the chair, hands on the chair. Step your foot back. Downward facing dog. Lengthen. Moving to the right side again. So the left foot turns out slightly, move it towards the midline, right foot underneath the chair. So now you can do it on the chair. If that worked out nicely, you can keep the chair. If you want to go a little deeper, then you can take a block to your inner foot. You can move the chair out of the way or a little further back. Take that chair, take that block on the inner foot, ultimately the outer foot. If you want to go to the outer foot, ultimately your hand's on the floor on the outside of your foot. But it's fine to use a block. So I'm going to start on the chair and then I'll move to the block, but you're welcome just to stay on the chair. So I have to adjust the hips first. Front thigh out, back thigh in, front hip back hip forward. Then both hips moving together to go back to take the chest forward as I take the left hand in front of me. So you can stay here, you'll continue the turn. Or you can take your hand onto the block, moving both hips back, extend the chest forward, the head goes back. Now everyone, you get more of a turn if you look down. So look down first, inhale, extending, hips back, chest forward, turn. Look down, inhale, lifting, exhale, turning. Inhale, lifting, extending I should say, exhale, turning. And then you can look up or forward, don't force the up. If you have your balance, sure, the arm can go with it. Or just keep it on your hip and work on the extending and the turning, head back. And everyone hand on hip. Turn your torso towards the chair, hands on the chair. So it's partly a balancing pose too. I'm losing my balance a little bit here. Walk your foot back. Downward facing dog. Hands on the chair. And then the other side. So turn your left foot to the midline. Turn the toes out slightly. Right leg forward. You can have your block if you want to use a block, either on the outside of the foot or the inside of the foot. I'm sorry, I said the legs wrong. Turn your right foot out, the left foot goes forward. And then place that block. If you're using a block, or just stay with the chair's totally fine. Turn the front thigh out, turn the back thigh in. Bring the front hip back, the back hip forward. And then send both hips back as you extend forward. My hands are still on the chair right now. Get that length first. Then right hand to the middle of the chair. If you want to take it to the block, that's fine. Hand on hip, left hand on hip. Both hips back. The left hip back a little bit more, but then both have to create that traction. Extend the chest forward as the hips go back. Turn. First look down and turn. Look down and turn. Inhale, extending. Exhale, turning. Inhale, extending. Exhale, turning. Inhale, extending. Exhale, turning. And then you can begin to turn the head, either looking forward, looking up. So I'm turning to my left here. I can't turn as much, so I can't look up on this side. The other side, I can sometimes get it. This side, it's just not there. I don't have enough turn. If you'd like, you can extend the arm up. I don't really have enough turn here, so I'm going to keep my hand on my hip. Svadhyaya, self-study. Then everybody hand on your hip. Turn towards the floor, hands on the chair. Walk your foot back. Even the legs out, even the arms out. Downward facing dog. Look up, walk your feet forward. Feet together or hip distance apart. Tadasana. Check in with yourself. All right, you can move the chair to the side now. You might want to keep a block around. Some of you will need it, some of you won't. We're going to do a pose, one final twist. Parvita Parvo Konasana. We'll do it in stages, okay? So be facing me. This is one of the poses for me. When I get it, it's a lovely thing. And honestly, some days I get it, and some days I don't. But we keep practicing it. So some of you, this might be the first time you're doing this one. Others, I know you've done this with me before. We'll start, just take your right leg up. Square your hips, right leg up, the left leg is bent. So you started on your knees, right? You're on your shins. You just take your right leg up, that's it. Make sure the toes of the back leg are pointing back, that shin is really back. And you want to work on squaring these hips. From here, lengthen the groins, release the inner groins, draw the outer knees to the outer hips, compact the hips together. And that's it, then switch legs. I told you, we're going in stages. Extend, make sure that back foot is straight right now. Extend through the inner foot. Lengthen the inner thighs, descend the inner thighs, draw the outer knees to the outer hips. Compact the hips. And then come back to center. Now to be clear, again, this pose for many is a little bit more difficult as you get into the final stages of it. You are welcome to stop at any stage. You don't need to go to the final pose. Some days the final pose is not very accessible to me. We do the best we can. So I just want to give you permission to repeat any of the stages without going forward to the final stage. Take your right foot up. Lengthen the groins. Extend through that back foot, the inner foot. Lengthen the groins, descend the groins, draw the outer knees to the outer hips. And now we turn. So take your left arm, reach up, rotate, and then hook the elbow. Now really, I said elbow, but what I really meant was armpit, right? Because there's all this space here. So take your opposite hand, your right hand, push down so you can lift up and turn. Inhale, exhale completely, and then try and get that knee actually at your armpit shoulder connection versus just the elbow. Turn, head back. Outer knees to outer hips will help. Lengthen in, releasing the inner groins will help. And release, come to center. Shin down. Other leg. Lengthen the groins. Extend through that inner back foot. Lengthen, descend the groins, outer knees to outer hips, compact the hips. Right arm up, reach up. Inhale, exhale, turn, hook the elbow. But what we really mean is the armpit. So take your left hand on your thigh. Inhale, lift up and turn. Exhale completely. And then get as close to that armpit as you can. Turn, head back, compact the hips. You have to keep that stability. Lengthen and descend the inner groins. Inhale, exhale, come to center. Back to center. So maybe that's as far as you go today. Totally fine. And for those that want to go further, right leg up. You may want your block here. For some, the block gets in the way. I want to be clear. For some, the block gets in the way. Lengthen the inner thighs, descend the inner thighs, compact the hips, outer knees to outer hips, left arm up. Rotate, hook. But I didn't really get to my armpit. So I have to take my other hand. Inhale, lift and turn. Exhale completely first, and then get down to that armpit. And now you straighten your arms. So maybe your fingertips hit the floor. Maybe they don't. Maybe you want that block there. For me, I'm going to use the floor. Push that armpit against your knee and turn. The head goes back. Now this is where it gets fun. Back leg, turn the toes under, straighten the leg. The more you can straighten the back leg, thigh bone up, the more you can turn. Extend through the back heel. Back thigh up, extend through the heel, head back, turn. Compact those hips together. Exhale, bend the back leg, come to center, and come up. And come to center, both shins down. So again, you have to go to where is comfortable for you. Left leg up. If you use the block on the one side, you'll most likely want it on the other side, okay? Lengthen the inner thighs, release the inner thighs, outer knees to outer hips. Right arm up, reach up, rotate, inhale, exhale, hook. I didn't really get to my armpit, so I'm going to work it again. Left hand on the thigh, inhale, turning, exhale completely, and then hook. Now straighten the arm. Either the floor is there or you can grab a block. Now maybe this is as far as you go. Totally fine. Lengthen the inner groins, descend the inner groins, compact those outer knees to outer hips, and then turn those back toes under and straighten the back leg. Thigh up, extend through the heel. Thigh up, extend through the heel, head back. Compact the hips together. That really helps here. And then bend the back leg, come to center, and come up. And just for fun, we'll finish the pose. I'll be honest, I don't know if it's in me today. You might see me fall flat on my face today. But in the final pose, we extend the arm overhead. So here, let me just show you what it is so you know actually where we're going towards. So the right leg goes up. We'll do all the work with the legs. You hook the left arm around, hook it again, straighten. Back toes turn under, straighten the leg, right? Then you have to redo everything. Compact those hips, release the groins. And then the final pose, you extend the right arm overhead, still extending through the heel. Maybe you have that today. If not, you don't extend the arm. All right, so let's do that together now. Right leg up. Start here, lengthen the groins, release the groins, outer knees to outer hips. Left arm up, really compact those hips, turn, bend the elbow. Got the elbow, not the armpit. So I'm gonna help myself. Right hand on my thigh, inhale, lifting and turning, exhale completely. And then hook the armpit. And then reach your fingertips to the block, floor, book. Be here for a moment. Lengthen the inner thighs, descend the inner thighs, compact the outer knees to the outer hips. Back toes under, straighten the back leg. Be here for a moment. Don't race for the arm. Lengthen the inner groins, compact the outer knees to the outer hips. And really back thigh up, extend through that back heel, helps the turn, head back. Now if you'd like, finish the pose. Extend the arm up, rotate it towards your ear, extend the arm overhead. Extend through the heel, extend through the fingertips. Head back, compact those hips. And then right hand on hip, bend the back leg, unwind yourself, come back up, legs down, come to center. Give yourself a hand. We do have one more side, but give yourself a hand for side one. And then second side. Left leg up. Descend the groins, outer knees to outer hips. Right arm up. Rotate. Turn. I only got the elbow, not the armpit. So left hand on top of the thigh. Inhale, lift and turn. Exhale, hook, exhale completely. And then hook the armpit. Then fingers down. Now be here for a moment. Lengthen, release the groins. Compact the outer knees to the outer hips. That really helps the turn. And then turn the back toes under. Straighten the back leg. Again, lengthen the groins. Descend, release the groins. Outer knees to outer hips. Back thigh up. Extend to that back heel. Lean back, head back. And then if you'd like, finish the pose. Extend the right arm up. Left arm up, rotate it. Extend over the ear. Extend through the heel, extend through the fingertips. Compact the hips together as you do so. And then hand on your hip, bend your leg, come to center, and back to center. Just sit back on your heels for a moment. Study yourself. And then to even things out, one last downward facing dog on the chair or on the floor, on blocks. Even weight on your hands. Turn your toes under, straighten your legs. Thighs back, hips up. Even weight on your hands, even weight on your feet. Heels down, hips up. Can you lengthen through your side ribs evenly? Lengthen through the arms and legs evenly. What instruction do you need that I'm not giving you? Can you give it to yourself? And then bend your legs, come into child's pose. Feet together, knees apart. If you're coming from a chair, just come into Tadasana, not child's pose. If you're in Tadasana, be in Tadasana, child's pose, arms forward, rest your head. Rest your head means on the floor, or if that floor is far, you take a block or a blanket. Coming out of child's pose, take your hands underneath your shoulders, push to come up, and then everyone lie back. Take a blanket for your head. It can either be a flat blanket. Most people, this flat blanket is best. or you can fold it in half this size. If you don't have a blanket, use a towel, use a couch pillow, use a bed pillow, anything you want. The blanket just touches the tips of your shoulders, supporting your whole neck. Legs are bent. Take the back of your head and pull that up and back, and then set your head down so you're lengthening your neck. Take your hands to the top of your buttocks, legs bent, and move the flesh away from or towards your heels to lengthen the lower back. Drag one heel on the floor, straighten your leg. Drag the other heel on the floor, straighten your leg. Then take your arms out to the sides. Just allow yourself to settle in here for a moment. Of course, if you want your legs on a chair, then take your legs on a chair. That's fine. Or a bolster or a pillow underneath your knees. That's fine. And before you go to do any adjustments, can you simply be here observing? What's your current experience? Maybe your heart is beating faster. We did a lot of work today. It's okay. Don't try and slow it down. Just let it be. Observe it. It will slow down on its own. What's the experience of the breath? Where is it feeling? Where is it getting stuck? Don't change it yet. Where's the mind? Is it in a state of judgment? Oh, this was a beautiful class. I loved it. Oh, that was so hard. Or is it in a state of acceptance? We're not judging good or bad. We're simply noticing. And having noticed, now we can seek to make adjustments. Can you really let go on those legs? Let the legs be heavy as they flow away from the torso. Can you really let the arms become heavy as they flow away from the torso? Can you allow the torso itself become heavy? Let the back body become wider as the torso sinks down towards the Mother Earth. The front body expanding as well, as the whole body becomes heavy and is becoming absorbed towards the Mother Earth below you. Allow the skull itself to be heavy. Rest your eyes into your cheekbones. Release, relax all of your facial features. Forehead, temples, eyebrows and eyelashes, all letting go. The nose, the cheekbones, releasing. Lips, cheeks, letting go. Not just the outside cheeks, but the inner cheeks as well. The inside of your mouth, releasing, letting go. The upper and lower palates becoming soft, widening, broadening. The jaw bone moving away from your skull more and more as time goes on. Your tongue completely let go, resting. Soften your throat. Release, relax your ears, the outer ears, but also the inner ears. Release, relax the inner ears as you draw them inward, listening to your breath from the inside of your body. And wherever you've wound up now, maybe it's pure bliss and perfection. Maybe there's still a struggle somewhere. Can you practice surrendering to this moment, accepting this moment just as it is, without any struggle against it? Allow the current moment experience, this here and now, to become absorbed into your being without any struggle. And become a witness for the breath. You do not need to breathe. The breath will breathe you. Let go everything. Hold nothing. Let go. Surrender. Shavasana. Take a soft, smooth, peaceful inhalation and a longer, smooth, peaceful exhalation. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your nose. Gently rub your thumb across the tips of your forefingers. Bend your legs, place your feet on the floor, knees together, feet apart. Take your hands onto your abdomen or onto your chest. When you feel ready, extend your right arm past your right ear. Roll to the right side. Be on your right side for a moment. Shavasana is corpse pose. But it's not just about the corpse part. It's about this part here, being reborn out of corpse pose, being reborn with new memories and a new sense of awareness. When you feel ready, place your left hand on the floor in front of your heart. Turn your torso towards the floor first, then push to come up. Come up, chest first, head last. Come up to sitting. Bring your palms together, thumbs at your chest. Taking a moment to observe your practice. What's different? What's changed? On the inner world, not the outer world, the inner world we're studying here. And can you take your practice with you out into the rest of your day? With kindness and with compassion. Kindness and compassion for others. Most importantly, kindness and compassion for yourself. Let's close our practice by chanting one collective Om. Deep inhalation. Chanting, let your eyes open. Big smile. Namaste. Bow to the divine within you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful to see you all. Wonderful to have you here.
Thank you so much.
If you have any
Thank you.
questions, let me know. Anything going on, feel free to email me also.
Thanks, John.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Jonathan.
Nice. Thanks.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thank
Have a
you.
beautiful day.
Bye.
Bye-bye. You
So
too.
much.
You're welcome. You're so very welcome.